Good morning, everyone. This is Samuel Koh once again. I'm the founder of the Headquarter Client Engagement System, and this is the sixth installation of the HQ Financial Planning Conversation, Lim Exclusive. How time flies, this is the sixth session already. And who is Lim and why do we have this conversation with Alan? Check out the description portion of this video. You have Alan's CV over there, and also a short video to explain why this is important. And for me, I think that the future competition landscape or competitive landscape for this industry is going to be a very different one compared to the past. And as such, there is even an urgent need for us to raise our game as financial planners, advisors. And so Alan is one of these individuals that I know that is respected and sought after in this field in terms of knowledge, in terms of estate planning, financial planning, research, etc. And so without further ado, Alan, once again, welcome to this conversation.
How times fly! I didn't realize it's a six
Number six,
series that we are doing already. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks a lot. Thanks for inviting me back again to have this conversation with you. I look forward to it every week actually. Now, and today I just want to talk about one particular news that came out in the newspaper. Let me just do a share screen. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, the interesting thing is that when we first started, we said that let's do this every 2 weeks, right?
Uh-huh.
And then as this thing goes on, it's like every 2 weeks is just too long. Now we have it every week. And I was telling you the other day, I literally look forward to every session. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Come. Botched liposuction case, family to get 5.6 million. All right. This news was widely reported in Singapore on the 27th of November 2020. Actually, what happened was the gentleman, you can see the picture, the gentleman on the right, he's a doctor. All right. He's a doctor in the aesthetic medical field, the aesthetic medical field. Just to give the viewer an idea of what aesthetic medicine is all about. Now, traditionally, people go when they're sick, they go and see a doctor. All right. In recent time, there's certain development in the Singapore landscape, as in aesthetic medicine become one of the very good business that certain doctors they want to specialize themselves in. Patients who go and see such a doctor not because they are sick, because they want to make themselves look more beautiful. They want to enlarge certain of their body parts or take out some fats from their certain of their body parts as well. All right. So in this situation, is a unfortunate case in 2013. A lady, a high earning lady, I think she's only about 44 years old. She's a high executive of a pharmaceutical company. She makes a good six-figure income per year. She died. After going through an aesthetic medical procedure, she passed away in a liposuction. So her family sued this particular doctor. And we are not judging the professional competency of this doctor. We are seeing this particular case from the eyes of a financial advisor in the area of contingent liability, and from contingent liability in the area of asset protection. Now you take a look at this part here. It's 5.6 million. No? The viewer might say, hey, how come the amount is so big? Usually when a person passes away, you sue a professional for negligence. You can sue loss of income. Loss of income is a function of your current age minus away the statutory retirement age, and then there's a time value of money formula that the court will calculate how much is it. All right. Usually it's in 2 million or 3 million region. Number two, the family can also sue for loss of inheritance. All right. And number three, the family can also sue for some sort of damages like a medical cost, uninsured medical cost, or some sort of other expenses that arises in the negligence. All right. So in this situation, the judge make a judgment, 5.6 million. All right. Now you might say that, hey, Alan, why are you talking this? That guy is a doctor. Doctor, they bound to have this professional indemnity insurance that will pay off this part here. Let me highlight to all. The answer might not be that case, no. Professional indemnity insurance might have certain limit, number one. Number two, professional indemnity insurance might have certain excess. Like for instance, the insurance company might pay off, say, 3 million. All right. the client need to pay, say, 2 million or 2.6 million, example. All right. So these are matters that exist. Let's put the professional indemnity insurance one side. Let's take a look at this idea of contingent liabilities. Now, what are contingent liabilities? It is the liability that in the course of normal fact finding, as a financial advisor, we can't get it from the client one. It does not show out on the client balance sheet. Normal time when we do fact finding with the client, we ask about liability. Usually it's mortgage, credit card outstanding, income tax outstanding, sometimes car loan outstanding. Then we just put out the figures. Contingent liability does not show out in the balance sheet, but it hides somewhere beneath the balance sheet because it only come upon if a client get hit by a risk. Some common example of contingent liability are guarantor. You sign guarantor with a bank to run your business. All right. Another one is professional negligence that you see in this case, this particular doctor. All right. So it's 5.6 million. In the course of my research for the past 22 years, I realized a contingent liability, if it ever comes, that magnitude and the speed is beyond your imagination. It's huge.
So that means, Alan, that means in normal fact finding, you wouldn't see this because it is not an obvious fact, right? Not.
It is not. For instance, I give you an example. If you do a fact finding with this Dr. Fu, let's assume this case won't happen. Dr. Fu is quite a successful surgeon. No? Anyway, most doctors in the aesthetic business are successful. All right. Now, would he think that he will ever get into this situation? If an advisor were to ask him, hey, Dr. So-and-so, what if professional negligence happens to you? Can you set aside some of the asset for asset protection? Sometimes the client might react, not from the financial planning point of view. The client might react thinking that you're insulting his professional competency. And this always happens. This always happens when, as a financial advisor, when we interview another professional, say a top-class lawyer, a top-class doctor, or even a top-class family businessman. It has nothing to do with the risk. No, the risk is always there. It is just that if you bring across not very professionally or not in a very tasteful manner, the client might react negatively to you. I thought that, hey, Alan, who do you think you are? You are insulting my professional competency. Can you take a look at all my testimony? Can you take a look at all the degrees that I have? All right. So this is a normal situation that happens.
Bring this effectively across to...
Yes, case study is the best. All right. For instance, you can bring up certain cases that in the same industry as your client. Say Dr. So-and-so, you can see this is your contemporary. His name is Dr. Fu in this article. He got himself into a situation of 5.6 million. Now, you might say that being a doctor, 5.6 million is nothing you can just pay off. Let me just tell you that might not be the case. No. Number one, a doctor might not have sufficient capital and liquidity to pay off the 5.6 million or the 1-2 million. All right. He might need to liquidate some of his asset. If you liquidate some of the asset to pay off a bill, to pay off the damages, you might not liquidate your asset in a very good value. All right. If that asset if the asset that you want to liquidate is your house, you will get another set of problem with your wife because you have to shift your family to another property. Sometimes it's a downgrading of lifestyle that the woman of the house might not be very happy with you. So these are situations that can happen. With Samuel, statement is very true. How do you bring across? The best way to bring across is to show our case study to show that, look, your Mr. So-and-so, your contemporary get into this. 5.6 million. You can't just say that the 5.6 million he paid off and that's the end of the things. Life goes on. It might not be, even for his professional indemnity insurance, you can expect the next year renewal premium will be very, very high. Number one. And number two, you might find that because he came into this situation, his business can drop because you came out in the news for the wrong reason. All right. Patient don't come and see you, and then your revenue, your future value might drop. So there will be financial impact. That brings us to the topic about asset protection. Asset protection meaning to say that when times are good, you need to segregate some part of the asset in a legal way, into a trust or into a life insurance policy that is trust nominated. All right. So that when such thing happens, and if worse situation happens, as a result of contingent liability, your your you face a bankruptcy suit as a result of contingent liabilities. All right. I think a few weeks ago we done one particular case about this low profile tycoon, his wife Lim Exclusive. They get hit by 131 million USD from OCBC Bank. That is another example of contingent liabilities. All right.
Okay.
So if that kind of unfortunate situation that happens, at least some part of your asset is being ring fenced. But the issue about ring fencing, the technique of ring fencing in Singapore is that you can't do it when the risk already happened. Because Singapore has got this 5-year rule. You must transfer your asset out into a trust, or asset protection trust. All right. More than 5 years before a bankruptcy order hits you. This is to prevent people abuse the system. That if he get himself into a bankruptcy situation, he start to assign or transfer asset out of his own name. All right. So there's this 5-year rule. So increasingly, the population are getting more and more informed. Number one, and number two, because of internet, people also get themselves more liquidative. Meaning to say that when things happen, they are educated. They will not just let the thing rest. They might use legal action to whack. So therefore, the professional negligent risk of professional or even self-employed actually goes up. So there is a case for financial advisors to start bringing up the subject of asset protection to the client. Now, I will bring out some ideas about what I'm talking about by mean asset protection without going into too detail. All right.
But before you do that, right, Alan? I think
Pardon?
before you do that, but this is not just a case of like a doctor, right? I mean, there's that kind of income. It could happen to people in different professions as well, isn't it?
Yes.
And as such, the need for something like this is can be very much there for a lot of a huge portion of the population as well. Because one of the things that Singapore is also becoming more and more affluent, right? There are a lot of people in that category, isn't it?
Yes. Maybe I just do another share screen about one of the slides that I show in last week. Hang on. Okay, I do a share screen.
Contingent liability, there can be many different kinds, isn't it? It's like,
yes, you won't know how it comes. So the because you don't know how it comes, and therefore there is a need for everyone actually to do some form of asset protection. To do some form of asset protection. Now let me just
Is there a course that you have that really focus on contingent liability? Because so far the cases that you brought up, especially the case you mentioned earlier about the OCBC Bank, Lim Exclusive, wow, that is so remote, no? Something that perhaps belongs to the category of you do not know what you do not know, you know.
Yes, correct.
So is there a course that you have that use in particularly on contingent liability at this point?
Yes, I do. Maybe more information I go let HQ know about that. Maybe exclusive for HQ members. I think that will be good. All right. Because in order to talk about contingent liability and asset protection, the financial advisor need to have certain level of maturity.
Okay.
All right. Before I go into this slide, the slide that you can see on the screen, let me just highlight to you what is the challenge of bringing out contingent liability. The client will take it lightly. The client will never believe that he will ever get into a contingent liability situation. In fact, right now, Samuel, I'm looking at you. You're a business owner. I will look at you as a brother, straight in your eyes. Hey, brother, you could have some contingent liability as a business owner. If you own asset all under your name, if someday the contingent liability hits you, it can be very devastating. Devastating to what? To the ability of you discharging your duty as a father, your duty as a husband. I do not know whether your parents are still around, or maybe your duty as a son, if your parents are
Mum.
still around. That's the part you say. All right. Now, then you don't need to answer. That one I just want to bring out. Okay, come on, you take a look at this particular chart over here.
Yeah.
Now, why financial advisor need to be there? Because financial advisor is the one that can bring out the conversation with the client.
Yeah.
Now, estate planning, we all know is wealth transfer lah. That is commonly known. Wealth transfer. Sorry, I just do a red color. Is wealth transfer, as I mentioned. I think a few weeks ago we talked about estate creation. But what is this one? This is the part I'm talking about lah. Contingent liabilities lah. What are contingent liabilities that require asset protection? Professional negligence, like what the doctor got himself into, unfortunately. Sometimes divorce, all right? Sometimes loss of mental capacity, all right? Now, negligence is one area. Sometimes it's not because you do something wrong, no. Sometimes what we call is act of omission, meaning to say that because you did not do certain thing, as a result, certain thing happened to the client. No. Sometimes can be careless, sometimes can be just pure complacent, all right? And then as a result, certain bad outcome happen to the client sues you. It can happen, no. So therefore, when we talk about asset protection, is that the logic is you can accumulate estate, you can accumulate assets. But what's the point that if you accumulate so much of an asset, halfway through you get yourself into this one, half your asset is being depleted, or 3/4 of your asset is need to liquidate it to go and pay certain damages.
Right.
All right. So therefore, under the asset protection, it can be some of the tools that can be used are asset protection trust, but that's a little bit complicated. But it can be as simple as S49L life insurance policy, because the statute did provide this particular clause in subsection 4, subsection 5 or section 49L of the Insurance Act, talking about the value of the policy will not be subjected to the debt of the policy owner. They have got statutory protection, no? All right. Or the other part, we can do assignment of life policy into asset protection trust. You can assign the policy out, but you have to assign it for more than 5 years. There's these 5 years rules in Singapore.
But the 5-year rule, does it apply to the S49L?
It does not. That's very interesting. S49L actually the effect come out immediate. But the thing is, subsection 5 of the Insurance Act did says that if you intentionally defraud a creditors, meaning to say that right now you receive a bankruptcy note, all right, straight away you go and buy a S49L insurance policy. Now the creditor is entitled to claw back the premium that you pay into that policy, the premium, not the cash value, not the sum assured. All right. So let me just give you one example. If within the 5 years you have purchased a S49L life insurance policy with a critical illness rider, let's assume it's 1 million. And let's assume the premium is $10,000 you put into the life policy. All right. Let's assuming that within the 5 years you got yourself into a contingent liability issue and you can't pay, and then the creditors or the official assignee will want to rule you bankrupt. All right. So the premium that you pay into that policy is claimable, can be clawed back to pay for to the creditors, which is $10,000. Let's assume during the court cases, you got yourself into a cancer situation, and the insurance company pay out the 1 million. All right. The creditor has got no right for the 1 million, no. The creditor can only touch the $10,000 of the 1 million, no, which is a premium. Yeah. But the thing is, before we all start go overboard, go and advise our client to make sure every policy in trust nomination. let's understand what can go wrong for the trust policy. A trust policy by itself, because of this statutory protection, they protect the most sacred of the family relationship, which is that of husband and wife. All right. There are only two categories of beneficiary that can be the beneficiary of a trust nomination. wife, spouse, which include husband, spouse and children. All right. You can't just say that you set up a trust life insurance policy and you put your mother as a beneficiary, or you put your trust as a beneficiary.
So
You
it's
can't do that.
not applicable at all.
So it's only provided your family structure, you have got spouse or you have got a children, you got child.
Right.
All right. If that is not convenient, sometimes a trust insurance policy will not have that kind of impact. I'll give you an example. In a very normal family business case, which is most of my market come from, usually the husband and wife runs a business. The husband and wife are both director of the company. And the husband and wife both are signed guarantor with the same bank because of the same business, working capital. So if the husband buy a trust insurance policy, put the wife as a trustee and beneficiary, and the husband got into bankruptcy because of the guarantor, the wife also get into a bankruptcy situation because of the same guarantorship.
So there's no protection at all.
There's no protection at all in this situation. Therefore, trust insurance policy does have a certain asset protection element, but it's at a very fundamental level. But you can't say it's no good, no. It does have its impact because the law says so. Okay. Now, so next we come into the next possible solution of a asset protection, where you have to start thinking about setting up an asset protection trust. Meaning to say that you set up a trust while you're alive. You start to transfer some of your asset, irrevocable, into this particular trust. And hopefully that within 5 years, nothing happens to you. Right? Okay, you just do it, keep doing it. And then asset protection trust is a trust that the beneficiary cannot be yourself. All right. So could be your children, could be your father, mother, or could be your partner. All right. Especially for those relationship that maybe the man and the lady, they are not legally married, for example. All right. Or same-sex partner, same gender partner. All right. You set up a trust. Right. The trust will ring-fence a certain part of the assets, just in case a contingent liability hits the client. Let's assume the client's majority of his asset been depleted, but he still got some asset inside the trust that's been protected. All right. And
so you mentioned that, Alan, you mentioned that this is also subjected to the 5-year rule, right?
Yes, correct.
Is there anything that, besides the policy, is there anything that can it's not affected by this 5-year rule?
There isn't any because let me explain to you. You have to see in the opposite light. Let's assume you are the creditor. If there is a product that make it so convenient and so effective that you don't need the 5-year rule, everybody will go and borrow money and don't return money. The whole economy will collapse. You see that part? So therefore, we cannot go overboard. Keep thinking about I want to protect my assets. It doesn't go that way. In fact, in a capitalist economy, the commercial law actually protects the creditors. Now, on first read, you might say that, hey, Alan, how can you protect the creditors? But let's go deeper. No, if you don't protect the creditor, you have one situation that people borrow money, don't want to return. No, you see the part, and then the whole economy will collapse. You see. So therefore, the law makes special privileges to this particular relationship called husband and wife. That one I protect. Who is I under law? We protect. Anything over and above that part, just too bad. Okay. So as a client, he must start to take on see this particular risk as something that hopefully it don't happen. But if it happen, the magnitude is very huge. Then to play on the safe side, maybe ring-fence some of his asset into an asset protection trust, or ring-fence some of his retirement funds into a trust-nominated life insurance policy.
Okay.
All right. So he can have design a very good asset protection strategy, diversify. No need to be all inside the asset protection trust. I'm a firm conviction that one or two of the retirement insurance policy ought to be ring-fence. All right. So that's one part. and some part of your other asset you go into asset protection
You
trust.
say that, right, Alan? When
Yeah.
you say that, what it means is that at least if something do happen, the retirement portion will not be affected, lah, right? You can still say, if let's say
Yes.
you survive the 5 years,
Yes.
you still have a pretty good retirement.
Yes.
You wouldn't end up like a beggar lah, in retirement, lah, right?
Yes, correct, correct. But yet again, if you want to use the insurance strategy, provided you have children or you have a spouse, but that's not a privilege that everybody have, you see. So the know our client situation is very important. Then we derive a
But then if
particular
you don't have
strategy.
a spouse or children,
Mm.
you could have a policy that can be assigned out as well, lah, right? But
But the policy you assign to who, you see? You assign to entity or you assign to a person. So if the person got themselves into a creditor situation, then problem number one. Or the problem, run away with your policy. You also got another problem because you assign out already. All right. So that's the situation. Now, the viewer of this video could be government official, so I want to make it clear. I am not emphasizing on certain certain loophole into the law. I am not. Not some underground strategy. It's not. These are all purely legitimate. All right. These are the risks that the client himself need to take. Now, asset protection meaning to say that you don't own the asset, and therefore you also don't enjoy the privilege of this asset. As simple as that. I repeat, you don't own the asset, you also therefore don't enjoy the privilege of the assets. That's why Asians' mentality is very difficult.
protected.
Yes, you protect it out. That's why to explain to the client is very important. Sir, do ring fencing of your asset so that when things happen, you still can discharge your duty as a husband, as a father. Then the client will ask, then what about myself? You need to take on the risk. The money that you ring fence actually it's not for yourself, it's for your wife and for your children. If you love your wife dearly, if your children respect you dearly, they will take care of you. They will take care of you. There's no other way. No, you can't have an asset protection. You're also the beneficiary. That will be illegal. That will be what we call a sham setup. All right. So that is ring fencing. That's ring fencing. And maybe at this point in time, I just want to highlight some interesting facts in which the life insurance-based practitioner will be very interested to know. Now, when we say transfer asset into an asset protection trust, some costs are involved on COST. For instance, if you were to assign a bungalow, a landed property into a trust, you need to pay stamp duty. In Singapore, the stamp duty for property is not low. What we call the ABSD. All right. It can be 10, 15, 7% or 7, 10, depends on how many property the entity has. All right. Let's assuming one of the former politician, he got a landed property in 38 Oxley Road, right? That property market value could be 30, 40 million, all right? If you assign that particular property into a trust, let's assuming that the stamp duty is 10%. 10% of 40 million, you can go and buy a house, no? It's 4 million, no? so sometimes you make the strategy very expensive, you see. Or it's not that the client cannot pay, it's just that very funny. You see.
It's not the most viable option.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another asset that people want to transfer into a trust is shares. Shares. The stamp duty involved also 0.2% of the value of the shares. So if the shares is 100 million, still value 100 million, you 0.2% 100 million, it's not small, no. It's not small, no. So therefore, there come interesting part about life insurance policy. If you assign a life insurance policy into a asset protection trust, guess what's the stamp duty? Samuel, you want to guess what's the stamp duty? If you assign a policy.
No stamp duty.
Zero. Hey, in the past, prior to 1983, before 1983, actually, assigned policy need to pay stamp duty or no. All right. So, so in recent time, when you assign a policy, there is no stamp duty involved. So that make it very neat, very efficient. That's the reason why you can see the universal life policy, a huge, they call it jumbo policy, huge sum assured life insurance policy with cash value one. All right. A very good policy that to be assigned to a trust. All right, because you don't pay stamp duty, number one. Number two, it's very efficient because it's cash. Right? There is not much management that the trustee need to do. All right. If you assign a portfolio unit trust or the funds into a trust, sometimes the trustee need to exercise the fiduciary duty of how to manage the funds. Usually they get third-party investment advisor to manage. All right. That brings up the cost, the annual fee of a trust, because your asset is more complicated. So if you assign a life policy, it's very neat, very efficient,
Again,
and
you
it's very cost efficient.
about the 5-year thing, am I right? Now? So
Yes, you assign of the 5 years thing.
correct.
Yes.
So, but if it's a policy, what it means is that if let's say year 3, this person, get into this contingent liability situation,
Yeah.
and the creditor can only go after the premium of that policy, right?
And the premium of the policy,
Not the cash value.
not the cash value, the premium of the policy.
And if something happened to him, it kaput,
Huh.
there is a death payment out, right, into that trust,
Yes.
basically, right?
Yes, correct.
Creditor cannot touch that as well, right?
No. When you say assignment, right? When you say assignment possibly the creditor can touch.
Not owned by the person already.
No. When you say assignment of policy, the sum assured potentially the creditor can touch. The part about premium that one provider is a Section 49L trust nominated insurance policy.
Oh, I see.
All right, that's a part here. So it's segregation. But anyway, in my experience, is the 5-year rules are there. No need to be too overly hype about the 3rd year, 4th year happen, 5th year what happened. The message is start today, start now, start when times are good. You just continue to do it, right? You just slowly build up the assets inside your asset protection trust. I'll give you an example. One of the fact-finding question that we'll ask a client, hey, sir, which month of the year you get your bonus? Let's say the client say June I get my bonus. So every year, June, the advisor will make appointment with the client for retirement planning review. So during the retirement planning review, we can always add in the asset protection part. So you receive 2 months of your bonus. Maybe 1 month of the bonus, you top up your asset protection trust. So another month of the bonus, you go and spend, enjoy yourself. So at the same time, you're building up your retirement fund systematically over the period of 10, 15 years, for example, right? You have quite a healthy retirement fund built up, and some part of it can be ring-fenced. Right? So if unfortunately a contingent liability happens in some part, at least you accumulated 15 years of your assets. If it's really so bad that last 5 years of the accumulation need to go for your creditors, let's assume. At least you got another 10 years you already done accumulated. You see the part? Versus you did not do anything at all. No, your entire 15 years of accumulation could be gone. No?
It's the one that is happening within the 5 years that the creditor have his hands on, right? So
correct.
If you like what you said, if you do 15 years, the 5 years the creditor can touch.
Yes.
Correct. Protected.
Correct. That's the part.
Okay.
That's the situation.
Interesting.
Now you take a look at that just now that diagram. Maybe I just You take a look at the photo of this doctor. Samuel, do you think he's in terms of age, is he in his early 30s? In terms of age, what do you think? Based on the photograph, guess his age. The gentleman on the right, the doctor. Can you see? Samuel, can you guess his age?
Probably 60s, 50s.
Yeah, 50, about 50, 60.
Yeah.
All right. Has this doctor has done some asset protection kind of strategy, say in age 35, because age 35 is a particular age where a doctor will finish his government hospital obligation that he want to come out as a private practice. All right, there's a transition. Assuming that he started at age 35 and he starts small, start accumulating. So at age 60, unfortunately, he get into this situation. So the 55 to 60, that part of it can get implicated, the assets. But from age 35 to age 55, that 20 years of the asset that he has accumulated is still there, no?
I
It
see.
is still there, no?
I see.
There's a part there. It's still there, no?
This is actually very interesting. Definitely, this is
Yes.
something that is more technical for discussion. This session is definitely not enough. Again, we want to
Yes.
give our viewers the appreciation of these topics. And for myself, I'm someone that yes, I have a business and all that. So being a student in all these sessions, which is one of the reason why I look forward to it.
Yeah, lah. So this is asset protection is one area lah. Then really can help advisor to see another dimension about financial planning, because Samuel Peck topic is that to improve the self-esteem of a financial advisor. Now, asset protection is one area that
Yeah.
really can improve the self-esteem of financial advisor, because you're the only one that can trigger off the conversation. No? And if it's properly trained, you're the one that can carry through the conversation with the client. No? Because most clients by nature will not think that, hey, why do I need asset protection? Why do I work so hard to accumulate all this asset? You're asking me to transfer out, don't own it. It's very difficult, no, in the Asian context. But we just got to persist.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Mention something that only the advisor, the financial advisor, right,
Yes.
can trigger this conversation.
Yes. Yes.
Why so? Why so?
I counter ask you, can a banker do that? Can a doctor do that?
Can, but
who are the advisors that surround a client? Who are the advisor in the area of subject matter expertise? Okay, we all start with a family doctor because when we have fever, or right now we are in a pandemic situation, wow, got fever, we all panic. We see doctor. Will the doctor trigger off asset protection? Unlikely lah. Okay. Next, in Asian our relationship with the lawyer sometimes not as deep as what in the Western world is. No? In Asian, sometimes we don't like to see legal letter. Receive legal letter means got some problem. So we seldom create a strong relationship with lawyer. Seldom, no. When you ask you to go to law firm, something happened, then go. So lawyer unlikely.
Okay.
But the lawyers they do have got the knowledge, but unlikely to have that kind of non-threatening platform to talk about this thing. Unlikely.
Yeah, the lawyer don't go around trying to.
They don't.
Educate people about this, and
They don't. But before we say that, Samuel, I want to be very careful about here. I'm not saying lawyer are lesser person. No, I respect lawyer tremendously. I got many good lawyers friends. Just it is not in the professional DNA to go around talking about asset protection. It is not like that We just got to admit it. The lawyer don't do that Doesn't mean they are lesser being. No. They are solid. No, the legal fraternity, the judicial fraternity are them solid. No, they are the key pillars of society. No, I respect them tremendously. No, all right. So
it's also the tools at their disposal as well, isn't it?
Yes.
In which case, we are talking about many of the tools are insurance
yes.
policies, insurance related.
Okay. No more I share with you in this situation how asset protection is being done. Let's assume the financial advisor is trained and skillful enough to convince the client to do some ring fencing of his asset. Well, times are good. Let's assume that part is done. What is the second part? The second part is actually the financial planning process. Meaning to say that the advisor need to sit down with the client and list down his entire asset. Cash, CPF, insurance policy, property, business share, IP rights, whatsoever. And the financial advisor got to go back to the office and look through of all these assets. Which of these assets is most effective and most feasible to transfer out. Not easy, because just like I mentioned already, some of the assets you want to transfer out got stamp duty, and if you work it out, the dollar and cents might not be feasible. Some assets you could co-own with another family members, like joint account ownership or property joint tenancy. Sometimes not convenient to just do a severance of the joint tenancy and you park 50% of your share out. Not convenient, And some assets you might need to liquidate it then you can transfer out. Then you defeat the purpose, you see. So it is a technical skills to look through the entire assets
Mm.
and the ownership structure of the asset and go back to the client and recommend we will set up a trust structure. But what is the asset that being poured into this particular trust structure is item 1, item 3, sir, because of this following reason. Bum, bum, bum.
Yep.
It is not something that we talk during the cocktail party. I say, okay, hey, my house has do ring fencing. It's not so straightforward, no.
So it so happened that the
Ah.
insurance instrument,
Mm.
it's not that the advisor just want to look for opportunity to sell more insurance, but
It is not. It is not.
it is
Because for instance, I give you an example. Assignment of life insurance policy, you can't just say assign just like that. Actually, if you run through that particular absolute assignment form, there's one part called the reason. Why do you want to assign the policy? All right. Is it with consideration or without consideration, which is give? Actually, right now, as we're talking now in the newspaper, recently there's some article talking about the secondary. There's this company set up to buy over secondary endowment policy. All right. How they do it? They're actually getting the client to assign the policy to them, and then they just pay some market value or the surrender value, maybe 10% more than the surrender value to the client to solve his liquidity problem. So what the client will wait until the policy be mature, the client will go and take the policy mature, or wait until the client died, the client will go and take the death benefit. That trigger all some slew of not very friendly comment from some other part of the fraternity, law professor. He brought up the issue about ethics. Hey, is it ethical that the company profiting from the death of another person? You see the part?
Yep.
Right. So if you not properly explain and not properly defend, you can give a very wrong meaning. So it's not just assign policy just like that. No. All right. So there's certain methodology, a certain professional processor that we go through that.
I see.
All right. Okay. So that is the part about the asset protection. It is one item that very rampant, very common in the high net worth and the ultra high net worth space. Ask yourself this question. For those of you who are advisor watching this video, if you approach a high net worth individual, you tell the high net worth individual how to make money because you're a financial advisor. I think your client know how to make money more than you. He bring a company IPO, he do a merger acquisition, overnight he can have 100 million. Possible. What? So in terms of wealth accumulation, sometimes your client is better than you. Correct? But in terms of asset protection, the client will be very interested because he works so hard to have the assets. So it will be very sad if he has to liquidate part of it. Or sometimes become a bankrupt as a result of certain contingent risks that happen. You feel very bad. No? Yes. It's a years of hard work. No? Yeah. And it could be a years of his own image or definition. What defines him is inside that particular property or that particular asset. That's him.
Alan, you see, some of these topics which is one of the things that I always love to highlight, right?
Yes.
It seems to come across that only people who have high net worth market, right, will need to come into these topics, isn't it? It's not always the case, right? So, for example, if you have a client and as a financial advisor, you get to really know a lot about the client. You know about their aspiration and all that as well, right?
Yes.
It is also a topic that is also applicable to people who may not be high net worth, isn't it? Who will also think about this. Maybe he is not a high net worth today, right? Maybe he becomes one.
Correct. It can be. Not necessary to be high net worth. For instance, I give you one example, a typical husband and wife situation. We all just recently had this conversation a few weeks ago. You see, about this trust nominated insurance policy. One of the powerful part about trust the nomination is that when the person passes away, the insurance company can pay the full amount, 3, 4, 5 million or 1 million or $500,000 into the targeted beneficiary very fast, without the grant of probate, right? Without the letter of administration. Okay. If you don't do that, if a policy is not nominated, insurance company can only pay up to 150,000 based on Section 61 of the Insurance Act. The remaining part of, let's assume the policy is 500,000. All right. So the insurance company will pay 150,000. And then 350,000, they will wait until you produce a letter of administration, which can take months, you see. Number one. Number two, if the client's spouse, she need the money to go and discharge bank loan because her name also inside the loan agreement. You will put her into a very difficult position. No? You see the part? So a trust nominated insurance policy can give out the sum assured very fast. All right, directly to the targeted beneficiary. Sometimes not so much for that beneficiary to enjoy life. No, it's for her to discharge her own loan liability and carry on with her life without her husband, which is very tough. No, all right, or carry on her life without the wife or without the children or without the parents. That kind of situation. All right. And then when we say asset protection, protect against what? Sometimes when too much of the asset pass through the probate, sometimes it's not so convenient. I'll give you an example. Even if you write a will, even if you got your will done, your will merely is a document to give power to this person called an executor. And number two, to highlight your intention, how you want to distribute your net estate. The devil is in the detail. No, what do I mean by net estate? Meaning to say, who comes first before your loved one is a creditor. Even if you write a will, the estate credit need to take first. So what made you so sure at the point of death, the estate creditor, that part of it won't be an issue? You won't know, no? You won't know, no? It could be a result of that you, after some sort of a celebration, you drink 1 or 2 cup more beer than you ought to. You drive and then you hit somebody and you also died. Then that deceased family can sue your estate. And because you drive, your car insurance also don't pay the insurance. The problem is it.
Again, this is the contingent liability, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, correct. That's correct. So I'm talking about normal family, I'm not even talking about high net worth, no. Meaning to say that you avail sufficient capital, sufficient liquidity, all right, to your loved ones, and not so much of the asset all drop into the probate, and then problem is it.
I remember you mentioning this past session,
Yeah.
For myself, I used to be a financial planner myself, and I was in the area of estate planning, studied it and all that. But that was, of course, we are talking about 1993, 95, long time ago, right?
Yeah, correct.
For someone like me, I was still having this broad impression that as if the will is like the most important thing in terms of transferring of asset after a person die, right? Apparently now from what I learned from you, that it's not it's an important instrument, but not. There are so many. There are other ways of making sure that the cash flows to the intended person, right?
Yes, correct. That's why I use the term specifically as being accepted by some of the like chartered financial consultant course. I use the word wealth transfer. No, I mean there are methods. There are various methods of doing wealth transfer. I just show you one diagram. I showed it before. I show it again.
Yeah. I think a lot of consumers are probably not even aware of this.
Yeah, because they're short of not enough financial advisor that that think so. Right. It's not exactly far. I dare not say I'm the best financial. I dare not say that. Let's go. I happens to be resonant in the field of estate planning.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing given to me. I thank God for it. I believe in Jesus. I thank Jesus for that. All right. I happens to be I find my calling is that area of financial planning. All right. That doesn't put me on top of everybody. No. It just I happens to be that way. Okay. All right. We all can learn from each other. Let's take a look at this particular tools and technique for wealth transfer. You take a look. If you do just concentrating everything inside the will, and then and if you pass away, your asset need to flow through your probate. This is the problem, no? This is a problem, no? And there are many other methods of doing well transfer. You can see life insurance there.
Mm.
You can avoid the probate process and then just to your targeted beneficiary. Now, we cannot underestimate the word called targeted beneficiary, because sometimes there will be situation where certain beneficiary is not convenient to let family know. No. I'll give you an example. I always bring an example. Assuming you divorce, remarried, you got two sets of children. Children from previous marriage, children from current marriage. You can be very sure your current wife will pay more attention to her children.
Yeah.
But you're the father also to your previous children. You also want to give something to them. You see the part?
Yep.
So you can make use of trust nomination, insurance the revocable nomination, or assignment of policy, and direct the capital out of the probate to the targeted beneficiary. Sometimes this targeted beneficiary could be your elderly parents, no? All right? Because most of your asset will go to your wife and children.
Yeah, there's another very
yes.
consideration.
Yes, you can do this, no?
Mm.
Now, you can also have bank cash account, joint bank account also can. Property joint tenancy also can. CPF Section 25 2 nomination also can. But let me highlight to you in this situation from a technical point of view, not just because I'm in life insurance, I sell life insurance. No. From a technical point of view, cash, property, CPF. Let's assume life insurance don't exist. Let's assume life insurance don't exist. Cash, property, CPF. Can you be 100% sure at the point of your death, the impact of death, the value is there? Can you be sure? Let me give you an example, CPF. What if you really make you tremendous amount of CPF to go and pay a house? And when you die, your CPF left 50,000. Is that 50,000 very meaningful to certain beneficiary? How long can it last? Let's not fool ourselves, no. 50,000, how long can it last? Today in Singapore right now, as we're discussing, the certain politicians bring out the subject of minimum wage, which nothing wrong. There are pros and cons in that. The minimum wage, they go and research, come out the figure, no, it's 1 month 1,300. 1 month 1,300 minimum wage, to have some sort of dignified living. All right, 1,300. 1,300 you times 12 is 13,000. All right. Now I have not even factored in inflation, in which I'm supposed to. No, let's for simplicity, we don't factor inflation, just 13,000. So if you left 50,000 for your elderly mother, how long can it last? 5 years, less than that.
Yeah.
You see the part? You left behind 200,000 for your wife. Your wife is say 50 years old. All right. And Singapore is living longer. All right. 85, 90, 100. All right. Your 100,000, how long can it last? Say 1 month 1,300. We are talking about minimum wage, no? And these are figures you can get from the statistics source. These are things that debated in the parliament. 1,300. Why not 500? Why not 2,000? 1,300? They did some research. They find 1,300 dignified living. And mind you, ladies and gentlemen, I have not factored in inflation. No. If I factor in inflation 3% every year, that means 3 years again. If 3 years from now we have this discussion again, will not be 1,300. No, it could be 1,500. No. You see that part? So your 100,000 is a big deal. Let's be very real about this. Life insurance policy, when you fix the sum assured 1 million, it's contractually fixed there. It's by contract. It does not matter what the economic situation is. It does not matter what the pandemic situation is. Right? If you die, you die. By contract, the insurance company will pay the sum assured. Say 1 million.
Accepted is 100,000. You die tomorrow, it's 100,000. But you die later, it's still 100,000.
Yes. If it's a whole life policy, you get 100,000 plus reversionary bonus. Now let's put the reversion bonus aside. Because some of the viewer in this video, you could be a layman. You might find that our conversation is tilted towards life insurance. Let me just bring you back to the technical point side. I am talking about the sanctity of a contract now. What's the sanctity of contract? We need to say when things happen, the contract will come into effect. If ever the contract don't come into effect, you can sue in court to force the counterparty to honor the contract. That's what I mean by the sanctity of the contract, which is part of the legal principle that governs this part of the world. About common law structure, the European the civil law. This is how business are done. But it's a contract. Cash at bank. You have 100,000, 1 million today. What makes you so sure when you pass away, the 1 million is still there? You could spend it, ma. Which is nothing wrong with spending, no. You need to spend, you need to spend. No? You see the part? Your property, a joint tenancy property, very variable. But let me remind ladies and gentlemen, as we are discussing now, the very first batch of a HDB 99 years has happened. End December, several family in somewhere near Kallang side one. They got HDB flat. The 99 year lease was up. They are asked to go. No. There are 7 family that have not actually arranged themselves for the alternate place to live. The emotional one will say, see lah, like that. Government cheap money. Actually, it's no. It has to do with your understanding of what property, what a 99 year means, no. It means to say that if you buy the property for 1 million for 99 years, you own the property for 99 years. At the end of 99 years, technically becomes zero. And that it is you can't just be very emotional and say that, hey, I spend so much money, therefore you must compensate me. It doesn't go that way, no. So for private property in Singapore, if you die and the property lasts 30 years to 99 years, does the property worth a lot of money? Unless there's, yes, of course, unless there's en bloc. But when you want to have all this en bloc situation, you're assuming the geopolitical situation in Singapore is favorable. What if it doesn't? You see the part? You can't just hope that every piece of land in Singapore got en bloc. No. That one is, you can only hope. So, sometimes it happen. So if it don't happen, the problem. No.
All these other assets like, CPF, property, cash and all that, there's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding.
Of course. No, I'm not saying bad things about CPF. I am not saying bad things about property. I like property. I also respect CPF. All I'm saying is a technical fact. You do not know when you die. You wouldn't know at the point of your death, the amount of money inside CPF, is it meaningful for wealth transfer, to discharge your duty, say as a husband or as a son. Say you left 100,000 there. And then you transfer that to your, say, mother. Your mother, say, is 70 years old. Let's assume that she can continue to live for the next 20 years or 25 years. Example, 1995, example, 1995. Your 100,000. Is it a lot of money? You can play this game, no? You put 100,000 into your bank account, and you stop work. Say, Samuel, I challenge you now. Okay, you put 100,000 inside your bank. And I tell you, you stop work, you cease HQ operation, you every day go cycling. And then every day, you still got to come home and eat dinner and face your wife. You tell me, do you feel insecure inside your heart? But it's 100,000. It's not a small amount. Why it's 100,000? You stop work. You tell me what's your feeling.
Oh, definitely it's not a good feeling. The cycling part I love, but
yes. In Hokkien they say "wu chuk bo jip." It is very scary, So therefore, the insurance policy make it very efficient. I create certain estate, say 500,000, say 1 million, say 300,000 or whatsoever. And after create, I can bypass the probate process. I can assign and direct the entire amount to certain beneficiary. I can also direct it to a trust, I can direct it to a trust, So for the trust, I can like $1 million there, and every year 100,000 to the beneficiary. And after the beneficiary pass away, whatever remainder, I can give to my grandchildren, or I can give to a church, or I can give to a foundation.
Yeah.
This is subject of plan giving.
Alan,
right?
I'm curious about something. I'm curious about something.
Yes.
One of the things that I realized having all these sessions with you, you always talk about the duty as a husband, duty as a father, duty as a son,
Yes.
Now, in your years of also advising many clients, right? I don't know, is it just me, right? It's always like Singapore is such a pressure cooker.
Yes.
The mind hardly rests, It's like we are very busy with so many things in and out, work, children, children, exams, and all that, right?
Yes, correct.
Do you find that this is like the kind of sense of duty that people have? No, not that they don't love their. Definitely, I love my parents and and
Yes, correct,
siblings and all that, right?
correct, correct.
But it's not something that is at the top of the mind of people, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I mean, when you talk to people and all that, I mean, do you find that every time you talk to people, only they are the ones that say, "I have my duty as a son, I have my duty as a father." I mean,
No. Okay. No.
it's not
Let me
right.
put.
I don't know. It's
No.
me.
I think the word duty is a bit harsh. But I really mean it because I sit down to highlight to
I
that
don't
part of
think
it.
us, you
But
know,
we're all talking about love
about it.
We're all talking about love
Yeah.
Love, we all know, is not. We're all adults here. Love is not what we had when you're in secondary school, when you have a crush on this uh, beautiful lady student sitting beside you. I think it's not that Love has some sense of responsibility That's what I'm trying to talk about. All right. Love is at the same time that you fulfill your aspiration. I talk to many youth. All right, today youth means 35 and below 18 to 35 because of the e-pass project 35. What is your aspiration? They got strong aspiration. At the same time, they also love their parents. Actually, they do. But there come to one part about every person need somebody who is not related to him or her to sometimes highlight certain points to him or her Okay, because you got a brother to talk to a sister, sometimes very difficult, but too close All right.
Yeah.
Look at the aspiration. My point is that I emphasize that you still go and fulfill your aspiration. You want to be a top scientist, or for instance, Samuel, you run a cyclist team, a team Russia, something. You want to be an Olympic champion, dream for it, go for it. But at the same time, when certain risks that happens, plan for it, prepare for it. Plan for it, prepare for it. Sometimes if you plan for it, prepare for it, if you don't have the opportunity to fulfill your dream, maybe you provide some sort of a financial bullet for another person that is close one to you to fulfill your dream. That's the part. That's the part that you need somebody who is not related to you to sometimes talk to you in a very sincere way.
Also back to the role of the financial planner.
Yes, correct.
You know, all these sessions, if anybody would really listen to this entire thing, right? It's like my pet topic, about the self-esteem of the financial planner, which I find to be a very important thing, right? If a client regard highly, their financial planner, they will definitely stand to benefit a lot in life, because there's so much financial decisions to make in life. Am I right?
Correct.
They will always know that they have this advisor. They can always, bounce ideas and ask questions. Advisor is in a position to help them. And the reason why I asked you that question just now, which is why I think it's so important that financial planners have to continue the review process, right? It's not just after the sale, right? The presence after the first sale is so important, isn't it? And all this topic is not something that you can carry with your client with the few sessions with them, right? First engagement, and you talk about everything. I think you overwhelm this guy, Am I right? No? But it's something that along life, their situation change and all that, right? And certain risks may begin to appear that was not apparent 5 years ago or 3 years ago. If the advisor continue to have that relationship with the client, then can the client be truly served, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. So in fact, I just want to add on, every review process is an opportunity to engage and deepen the relationship.
Yeah.
That's a part. And I also want to add on, because in recent time, because of the pandemic, there is a certain strata of Singaporean lose their job, and insurance company benefited, so they got quite a lot of recruitment coming. All right. But I want to look at the other part of situation. Financial planning or financial advisory, sometimes it's a calling. No, it is not just you want to apply a job, you just do it because the money is good. That reason can sometimes be very pressurizing. It's a calling, it's not for everybody, but it is also not difficult. All right, there's certain methodology to learn. There are certain ethos, there are certain sense of privilege that you must understand what you mean by a financial advisor. Is there somebody entrust his intimate financial information to you? No? and trust that certain risks happen to him, that his family can continue lah. Business can get together, the family can get together,
Yeah.
right? They entrust onto you, no. If you feel that trust, say you can be an MDRT top producer, top of the table, came out in newspaper whatsoever, and your client passed away, and the insurance policy got stuck in the probate, and then in the end landed up in the hand of the creditors, and the mother get accidentally crowded out of the estate. Can you sleep? You will be still top of the table, no? You still going to receive your awards, no? But in the quiet moments, when you take a look at the mirror, do you respect the person in the mirror? And your client come and ask you, the client maybe got no case to sue you.
That's a convenient topic to, it's not an easy topic, right?
Yes.
In my position, helping financial planners, a lot of users basically come from a very wide range of practices. Some of these, I know of people that they truly care about the clients. Really want to. And of course, it's a question of how can they do better, right? And hopefully, of course, with this discussion with you, Alan, to bring to them certain awareness, and they could decide to dig deeper. You want to dig, but dig where?
Yes,
correct. You know where to dig also, right? To go to. Of course, there are those that really do not care, there are it's sad to see, okay. But I think over time, as consumers get also more knowledgeable, right?
Yes, correct.
And it's not just us talking about this. Like I hear in other segments of social media, like LinkedIn and all that, there are advisors, and I'm heartened to see also, Alan. Recently, I was talking to one manager, right, from one company, he come from a very big group. They are very successful in roadshow. Very successful. And he was telling me that, Sam, if some of the people we know in the industry who focus on training, like referral, all these things, if they were to come to us 2 years ago, there's no business for him, because we are already doing so well in roadshow. There's no incentive to really learn about referral and all that,
Correct.
But because of COVID, right, kind of, it's a game changer. And when I heard what he shared, I was a bit surprised. I said, "Whoa!" I said, "Bro, you are very honest and open." You know what he did? He actually, after coming on HQ, of course, one of the key segment in HQ is about building the web profile testimonials, and also about the newsletter system that help them to stay in touch regularly with their clients and continue to educate their clients in topics that are of value, right? And he actually go in his own group and around himself and tell his peers, right? Because they are really having trouble from roadshow to, to referral and all that. Okay. He told them that, be patient, let's not, just because we started with this HQ thing and you send 1 or 2 newsletter, immediately you want to go back to the clients and start to do business again. He's telling his people that be patient, let this system show them that we have genuinely changed the way we do things, and we don't want the client to feel that we are just out there for their money, And when I hear this, and also I mentioned to you in other social media platform, people who actually start talking about this, I feel really kudos to these people. And you know what's a good thing, bro? These people are young people.
Yes.
It's like for me, so many years, it's like, whoa, there is now this conscience of these people that are there. I feel so happy to hear them talk about this. And it's not just coffee shop talk. Thanks to social, now people are already talking about it publicly. Am I right now? Okay.
Correct.
And for the rest of the advisor, hey, look, this is going to change the game slowly but surely, because you know what? It's not just we in the industry who hear about this, the clients are also hearing this from these people. Okay. So hopefully that will bring about more positive change for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, Alan, we have come to the
Yeah.
hour mark, I believe.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
actually want to talk about plan giving.
Do we still have got time?
And to talk about it, right? But
Maybe next
what
week.
you shared about is really so insightful for us, for myself, and I'm for many of our users and financial planners in Singapore, even in outside Singapore. I
Yeah.
truly
Yeah.
add
Correct.
value. So Alan,
Ah.
thank you once again, and
Okay. Okay.
we will structure all this discussion.
No problem. Okay. Okay.
But there's just so much to talk about, right?
Yeah lah. Yeah lah. Okay.
Yeah. So Alan, want to
Okay.
thank you once again. Really, thank
Okay.
you
Okay. Thank
for
you.
it.
Thank you.
And I'll
Thanks.
see you next
Okay. See you.
Saturday.
See you. Okay.
Right,
Okay.
guys.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Wish you again that you and your family should continue to stay safe in this.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. You too. You too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks
Okay.
for being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.